Hi guys, welcome to Simply Scuba. Here we have the Tusa Imprex dive knife. So this is a very traditional dive knife. As you can see, it comes in this fairly robust sheath and it comes with these leg straps. So you can really sort of mount it to your leg and sort of have it always to hand whenever you need it. So this is a pretty decent sized dive knife. This is for cutting through pretty impressive sort of obstacles, and there are a few sort of hidden features on the knives that make it sort of very practical. So taking a look at the, we'll just take a look at the straps first. So these have these kind of hook ratchet straps. So you can sort of get them to the perfect length. And then when you want to sort of put it on and take it off, you just kind of hook it over and that kind of clips in. So that way you don't have to continually adjust it every single time. Same again at the top. And of course you can remove those if you don't want to use them. The knife has a sort of spring-loaded sort of release mechanism, so press the button to release it, but then even if you just pull it out, it's going to stop. We have these two little stoppers that just mean that you really have to physically take the knife out, so it's not going to just slip out by accident. You kind of have to lift it up a little bit and then pull it out to get it out of the sheath. So that's quite a nice safety feature. You really have to be holding onto the knife and physically pull it out. When you need to get it out, it's quite a natural mechanism because you tend to like pull it up and out at the same time. So it's not gonna restrict you, but it just means that whenever you're, if anything pushes that button, for example, the knife isn't just gonna fall out of the sheath. You physically have to draw it out. So the knife itself, decent size, so if you're trying to cut through anything sort of fairly sturdy, a decent sized rope, you've got a decent amount of sort of cutting edge and handle to hold onto compared to a lot of the smaller sort of line cutters. The blade is made out of stainless steel, so you do have to sort of make sure that you keep it dry and wash it between dives, because even though it is marine grade, it will start to rust over time if you leave it wet, especially with salt water. Comes in two different variations. This is the blunt tip, sort of chisel tip. Also comes in a pointed tip if you prefer. This one's a little bit more practical because you can use it as a makeshift screwdriver if you really need to. It's not what it's made for, but it is just another tool for a job. Decent sized thickness on this as well, so it's quite a strong blade. Some of the kind of thinner blades you do kind of worry if you were to kind of use it as a sort of pry, but this has got a decent amount of thickness on it. As far as cutting edges, we've got serrated cutting edge along the top, so if you're cutting through really thick rope, you've got some serration on the top to work your way through and saw it. We have a small line cutting notch in the on the top here, so something very small like a fishing line. You can trap it in there and just cut that, and then we have a long straight cutting edge along the bottom to cut through your standard stuff. Handle itself is made out of two different materials. So the blue on this is a harder plastic, and then the black is like a rubbery, so that gives you a nice amount of grip. And we've got this kind of shield that stops your fingers from slipping over onto the cutting edge. We've got a little lanyard loop down at the bottom here, so you can attach a lanyard, always useful, especially when you dive knife, so you don't fumble it and lose it. You can always keep it sort of safely attached onto you. And at the bottom, we've got another section of metal. You can use that as kind of a tank banger if you want to. I'm not a huge fan of that because you've got a knife kind of waving around behind you, but you can use that as a kind of tank banger. But this is particularly useful because you can unscrew this, and this just makes cleaning your knife easier. So as you can see, we have this little screw section and then more steel. So this just proves that the entire blade, it's a full tang, so all the metal goes all the way through to the handle, which just gives it good rigidity. Some knives kind of stop around here. So if you're really kind of trying to saw through something, that's not much sort of knife that's actually sort of attached to the handle, so they can break, whereas a full tang blade makes it that much stronger area, and it just means that you can get on the inside of the knife, you can clean it out, make sure it dries thoroughly so that rust isn't going to form on the inside of the blade, and yeah, it just means that long-term care is a lot easier, especially for a steel blade. I prefer if it's easily washed and cleaned, and you can actually get to the inside of it so that you make sure that rust isn't forming on the inside unseen, just weakening it. But overall, yeah, it's a nice knife. It's a little bit oversized compared to what I use, but if you are cutting through something more substantial, some thicker ropes, then yeah, it's definitely a good tool for the job. This is the Tusa Imprex dive knife. Thanks for watching and safe diving.
We are an online dive store serving the UK and the world for all your diving equipment needs. So why not visit us at simplyscuba.com or click the box on your screen.